Hi, this video will help you with page 56 from the supplement. Okay, the first thing you're being asked to do is to write 7th chord voicings in various inversions. And before we get into that, we need to clarify how this whole inversion thing with 7th chords works. So let's zero in on this. Here's a root position, D minor 7 flat 5. Easy to spot it as a root position chord because of its appearance. When we take the lowest note and we put it up an octave, we've created a first inversion. Notice that there is a clump formed by that. When that note was raised up an octave, it formed second with its next lowest note. Okay, that's important because when you need to spot these voicings, if you didn't know that this was D minor 7 flat 5, you would be able to find that the root of this chord is D if you know the fact that when 7th chord is in inversion, it will form a clump like this. There will be a second somewhere in the chord, and the upper note of that second is the root of the 7th chord voicing. So you'll see now this is a first inversion. Now if we bring this note up an octave, this is a second inversion, and there it is again. That clump is still in the middle in the chord there, and again the top note of it is the root of the chord. So that's the way you would form a second. That's the way you would build a second inversion of a D minor 7 chord. Now when it comes time to do the third inversion, well, you would just do there's our first inversion. There's our second inversion, and now of course our third inversion is when we bring this note up an octave, and there you go. And once again, if you didn't know that this was a D chord, you could come down and find that clump, and you could see that it's revealing that that's the root. Okay, so at this point, why don't you pause the video and try to form an E flat major 7 second inversion and an E flat major 7 first inversion, and then restart the video to see the answer. Okay, and here we're going to show you the answer. First I'm going to show you how I got it. I did my root position chords twice here, and here's my answers. That's a root position, my first inversion, there's my second inversion, there's my root position, and there's my first inversion. Okay, now that you've got the idea, you can carry on and finish that example. On the page, the next example asks you to find the other chords in the key which have these notes in them. So it says there are 4 chords in the key which have each of the given note as a common tone. Notate these chords in close position with the given note on the bottom of the voicing. Label each one with a chord symbol and Roman numeral analysis. So what it's basically asking you to do is, thinking in the key of E flat, find all the chords that in this case have a G in the chord somewhere. For example, in a E flat major 7, the G is the third. Well, also somewhere in the key there's going to be a chord that has G as the root. Somewhere there's going to be a chord that has G as the 5th, and somewhere there's going to be a chord that has G as the 7th. And that's what you have to figure out what those chords are, and then you have to write them in an inversion that would allow you to have G on the bottom. So let's do this one first. We've already got our E flat major 7, and that's the chord that has G as its third. So why don't we try to find the chord that has G as its root, which is obviously a G chord. So ask yourself, what note is G in the key of E flat? And that's right, it's the 3rd scale degree. Therefore, this will be the root of the 3 chord in the key of E flat major. And what is the 3 chord in a major key? What quality is that? That's right, it's a 3 minor 7, so it's going to be G minor 7. So now you know that that chord's a G minor 7, so you write the chord symbol and the analysis symbol, and then you just would simply spell it so that G is on the bottom, which of course would be a root position. Something that looked like that. Now let's do the next one. Well, we found a chord that has G as its third. We found a chord that has G as its root. Now we need to find a chord in this key that has G as its 5th. So think about that for a minute. Pause the video, write your answer, and then check back to check your answer. Okay, we're back, and of course you think of G has to be the fifth, so you think of what chord would have G as its fifth, and the answer of course is C, C minor. And so then you would just do a version of C minor 7 that has G in the bass, which would give you a C minor 7, which is 6 minor 7, and in second inversion like that. One more element to this, I forgot to point out here. It says when you analyze something and you include the inversion in the analysis, you do this. You say what it is, the Roman numerals, in this case 7 minor 7, flat 5. And then you do a slash and you say over what in the chord. And it turns out this chord has its flat fifth as the lowest note, so it's 7 minor 7, flat 5 over its flat 5. So getting back to this example, if we're going to analyze this that way, we would call it 1 major 7 over its third, and we would write that like that as follows. We're going to capture that in our analysis. We would do this, and we would do a slash, and then we would say the number 3, not the Roman numeral 3, but the Arabic number 3, because it's a note, it's not a chord. And then this G is over its root, so you wouldn't have to write any slash for that. And this C is over its fifth, this C minor 7, so you would do slash over its fifth, like that. And that would be part of your analysis. To item 2B, you're now being asked to copy the previous chords that you figured out up here and put the bass notes, which are not always going to be the root, of course, because as we know, the third was in the bass here, the root was in the bass here, the fifth was in the bass there. So you're going to copy them down here and put that note in that lowest note in the bass clef, and the remaining 3 notes up on top. And then you're going to anytime there's a common tone, of which there will be a lot, you tie them together. So let's just do the first few that we had already worked out. We had worked out that the second chord was going to be a G minor 7 in root position, and the third chord was going to be a C minor 7 in second inversion. So let's copy those into here and do the tying, and then pause the video and check your answer. Restart the video to check your answer. The answer. So you can see what I did is I took the original 4-note voicings, I put them up here, and now I'm taking this note, getting rid of that G, and I'm putting it down in the bass clef. The top notes are going to be our voice leading, and then we go along and we look for common tones in each voice as much as possible, and then we're going to tie those. So this is going to be tied over to that. Sounds with the ties. Look like this in terms of the chord symbols as well. E flat major 7 over G, G minor 7, C minor 7 over G, A flat major 7 over G, and your analysis, of course, 1 major 7 over its third, 6 minor 7 over its fifth, 4 major 7 over its seventh.